Hi, it's Connor, and I'm going to be doing Unit 3-4, Solving Quadratic Inequalities by Graphing. And so this unit will show you many problems such as the one below, but let's solve a few of these. Okay, so this one is x squared plus 4 is less than 0. So what that means is that the shape of the graph is x squared, that's your standard U parabola. And because it is plus 4, that signifies the y-intercept. So you're going to want to take the standard u and move it up 4 spaces on the y-axis, because that's where it's going to cross. And so because it is less than 0, that means on your graph you're going to shade in all this area right below the graph, and all the way down to infinity in both directions, except above the graph. And so that is all you have to do for a problem like this. That's your answer. So let's move on to the next one. This one is x squared is greater than 6. So for problems like these, you can't have numbers and variables on both sides. You gotta make it one way or the other to where one side has 0 on it. And so it's easier to move the numbers to the side with x squared because you don't want to have to use negative x squared as much. So for this one, we're going to subtract 6 from both sides, and that will give us x squared minus 6 is greater than 0. And so, as I said before, negative 6 is going to be your y-intercept on this one. And so you'll see the graph crosses the y-intercept at negative 6. And because it is greater than 0, all this space up here is going to be included in the answer. And you're going to want to shade it all in, because that's the answer. So on the next problem, let's take a look at that. It's going to be 2x squared plus 4x is greater than or equal to x squared minus x minus 6. And so to simplify that, you're going to want to get 0 on one side once again. And so let's take everything on the right side of this equation, move it to the left. And so I already did the math. That will give us x squared plus 5x plus 6 is greater than or equal to 0. And so that is about the right graph. Pardon my bad handwriting on this app. And so you'll see that the y-intercept is at positive 6 because it says plus 6 in the inequality. And because it says plus 5x, you can't just have it like the others to where it's right down the middle. You need the graph to be a little bit to the left because the 5x alters how it is on the x-axis if it moves left or right, while the plus 6 with no x determines how it moves up and down on the graph. And so because it is greater than or equal to 0, that once again means you're going to want to shade all this area above it. And in your answer, it will include spaces on this graph. So, for example, on a quiz or a test, if they were to ask you if x0, y6 was part of the answer, that would be part of the answer because it's right on the line. And for this specific example, that is included in the answer. So let's move on to the next example that we have here. So that's just going to be negative x squared is less than or equal to 0. So I wanted to get negative x squared on its own with no variables or anything to better explain this. And so that simply means you're going to want to take the standard U parabola that is in the shape of a U pointing up, and you're just going to want to flip it completely around to where it looks like an N and it's pointing down. And so because this one is less than or equal to 0, that means you're going to want to shade all this area below the line. And once again, that means including the line because it is less than or equal to. So for this inequality, the coordinates 0, 0 are part of the answer. And that's all I have to show you. Thanks for watching. Hope you understand.